story.
Yeah, we know who Elijah is.
That's
we killed
right.
him.
Nothing gets in or out of here without me knowing it. Normally, that would have fallen under my jurisdiction, but the Elder... Under the lockdown, only essential personnel are permitted to enter or leave. All other personnel are forbidden to leave, and any personnel that were out there when the lockdown was enacted are forbidden from returning.
Alright. So Elijah, the psychopath of the Sierra Madre, well, we can see why he screwed up. You know, he's a lunatic. And I actually think it's pretty cool that they found just some bit character who just provided background story for the problem between Helios 1 and this place was actually turned into an entire DLC. It was awesome. But Elijah's been taken care of. Now, we should find out this entire story before we make any decisions on what we're going to do with the current elder and the guy who wants to replace him. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about that is once we do decide what we're going to do, even if we decide to get rid of the current elder, we should do all of his missions first. When you get rid of a guy, he can't give you missions anymore. Oh, right. I'm supposed to talk to Ibsen. That's what I was down here for. Oh, Ibsen!
Hello again, my friend. I
guess I don't actually have to talk to him, do I? Three times. Raymond Lorne, dismissed for murder. He killed a guy named Ritter. Ritter, friendly fire was the claim, but tribunal felt they could not let him persist as elder was suspicion. An elder was blah 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 blah. Never mind. Kenneth Jones. What's this? Ask Paladin Ramos. It's no longer willfully gone against the chain that binds. Okay. Ask Ritter, or ask that guy what the hell the chain that binds is. And David James, charged with destroying an unknown device. And he wouldn't explain even what he blew up, although I doubt that matters. I don't know why my computer does that from time to time. It doesn't even strictly happen when I'm recording. It almost only happens when I'm recording, but almost only is a weird statement, you know? Why is everybody just standing around? Something going goofy on with scripts right now. Cass won't follow me right. This guy's following me a little slower than he should. People keep grouping up. It happened back at the NCR base, too. These guys should have dropped out of combat stance, but that's a minor thing.
Something. That's an old principle that's been around since the Brotherhood was founded. It's pretty much common sense, but it gets invoked a lot when people get pissy about following orders. If you're curious, I'll give you access to the data store entry on it. You'd probably be the first to read it in years, if not decades.
So we need to look up more information about the chain that binds, which we could easily translate to chain of command.
Our instruments show
Wrong
some
direction.
impressive power fluctuations coming from across the river.
You can't even track some people's hollow disks. How can you keep track of that? Oh, don't ask questions. Orders are to flow from high to lower. You must always carry out the order. Your orders are not to skip ranks. You cannot give an order to somebody 2 ranks below you. Simple as that. You can can give orders to people who are directly below you and no further. Wrong room. Let's see here. What are my optionals right now? Return to Harding. And we still need to do the find the lost paladin things. Now would be a good time to save, by the way. I'm moving awfully slow. And I can't sprint or nothing. It's terrible. Where the hell is Harding? Local map is your friend. That's not where Cass is, man. Cass is just missing. But I can bring her back whenever I like. I'm just a little too lazy to do it right now. Alright. Local map. I don't see him. Maybe Hardin's back here.
You're being watched, so don't get any ideas.
Blah, blah, blah.
Hmm? Oh, you must be the outsider everyone's buzzing about.
Shouldn't I be able to say more to him? You'd think so. Sorry. I was chewing on something. I shouldn't do that.
Yes, what is it? Ah, the outsider. I suppose it's too much to ask that jar. I am Head Scribe Taggart, and I am much...
He's a pleasant sword, isn't he? Well. We're not even gonna fuck with that. Something about key cards and self-destruct. We're not gonna fuck with that. If you want to get rid of the Brotherhood altogether, this would be the way to do it.
You're being watched, so don't get any ideas.
Yeah, lady, I get it. Where'd Harding go? There's McNamara. McNamara, whatever. So you want to just, like, steal some power armor? Here's some. Here's the irony, though. Without the stupid mod, power armor's pointless. With the stupid mod, it's not all that hard to get.
What is it, outsider? Yes, I know the loss of the patrols has weighed heavily. That was when I first began to seriously question his ability to lead us. It's strange that he would ask you to find mission discs on them, however. The missing paladins were all on standard patrols. Only brothers sent on special assignments are given mission discs. It's a travesty is what it is. Every second we sit on our hands down here is another second that we're not fulfilling. It's not that I dislike the Elder, but I strongly disapprove of his current style of leadership. After lifting the lockdown, the first thing I'd do is send Next, I'd resume patrols in the near vicinity, and begin sending search teams out to the spots the scouts reported were relatively safe. It's standard procedure when a chapter relocates to an area, but standard procedure... Elijah was a strange one. His even becoming Elder was highly questionable, seeing as how he was a scribe. Typically only paladins are eligible. But an exception was made in his case on account of him being a genius. Unfortunately, whatever scientific acumen he had didn't extend to tactics. Trying to defend Helios was a blunder of the worst kind, and many brothers lost their lives because of it. Many of the senior paladins, myself included, advised him to fight a retreating action, but he refused to budge. Said he almost had it working. We never did find out exactly what he was talking about. Helios was the worst goddamn action I've seen in a long, long career of fighting. I could hardly call myself head paladin if I didn't. It's one of the first things... Second part. What are you talking... That is the standard procedure, yes. For example, McNamara gives orders to head scribe Taggart, who then relays further orders to the scribes. I wasn't aware that failing to do so was punishable, however. Interesting. If we can just find an instance where McNamara went around some...
Alright. Et voila. So dann wir gehen. Wrong language. So now we're going. Sorry about that. You know, I have to make this excuse a lot, and it bugs me because I know so many people who know more languages than I do, even. Because it's weird, you know, whenever you have a weird quality that seems relatively rare, it's like you get this magic window where you can find everybody who has it. You know, kind of like the supposed gaydar. I have multilingual dar.
Looks like Mr.
Either that or I'm just a magnet for him.
One less thing for us to deal with.
But no, seriously, it's odd because you wouldn't think that there are a whole lot of people that speak many languages, and I find them all the time. And what I'm getting at, anyway, is that I have a nasty tendency, because of the way I learned I had myself be able to learn so many languages, to speak the wrong one. And I know so many people who know so many languages, and they never have that problem. Even when the language they're supposed to be speaking at the moment isn't their native language, which is when most people tend to screw it up, they seem to be perfectly fine at not speaking the wrong language. And I screw it up all the time. It bothers me. Because the way I learned other languages, and it's similar to the way they tell you to learn other languages. We're gonna wait for this thing to end. Because they tell you, oh, to learn another language, I can't wait here, great. They tell you, in order to learn a language, all you have to do is don't translate. You know, just when you hear the word, naturally know what it associates to. Make it association instead of translation. And translation is typically the worst way to learn a language because it slows you down. It limits the amount that you can learn. And it makes it take a lot longer to learn. Translation is typically the worst. I came up with the worst way than translation. Screw it, we'll just wait out here. I do it by synonym.
Capacitor charge depleted. System shutting down.
I don't know what keeps getting used to do that extra 50 charge, but I like it. But anyway, no, what I was getting at. So, you know, most people, it's association, and then the worst is translation. Mine is synonyms. And synonyms make it so easy to learn a language. It does. With the exception of if you speak Western languages, learning Asiatic languages is a bitch. Because they don't translate. I failed. I've only failed 2 languages. One of them was French, and that one I can't pronounce, and it was spoken that failed me. I failed spoken French because I can't pronounce it. And then Japanese was the only one I failed because I simply didn't understand it. And I knew the words, But trying to string them together into a coherent sentence, I can't do it. I mean, I can read a little bit,